And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to IT Career in Australia live stream. And tonight's topic is top tips to improve your tech resume. Thank you so much for finding some time this evening to join our live discussion. As usual, please introduce yourselves in the comments. Let us know what you do and join our conversations with your comments and questions. If you're new to my live show, I'm Jana Martins, and I'm currently moving to IT consultancy myself. So I'm passionate about learning more about present and future of tech industry, and also share my new findings with you on this YouTube channel. So again, tonight we're going to talk about top tips to improve your tech resume. And Beck is going to share her experience, the most common mistakes she has seen, the best and simple structure for tech resumes, and any other valuable tips when it comes to writing this perfect resume to get noticed and get hired. So pretty relevant topic, obviously, for everyone who's looking for the job at the moment. Please make sure like this video, share with your colleagues and friends who need to hear this. Before I'll pass it over to Beck to introduce yourself, I just want to remind you quickly that we're going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. To watch the replays, as usual, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, IT Career in Australia. I'm going live there every Wednesday night, 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time, with various experts from my network. And, we're talking about all the things around IT career, job search, and specifics of IT industry in Australia. I also encourage you to join my meetup group to make sure you get notifications about upcoming discussions. And again, please make sure to ask as many questions as you want. We'll try to answer most of your questions from all the platforms, but please just stay in the topic. Also, the most active participants will receive a nice surprise at the end of the stream. And also, as usual, I do encourage you to use this live stream not only as the opportunity to learn new information, but also to network in the industry. Again, guys, please make sure put your name in the comment and let us know if you actually may be looking for a job right now. Nice and sunny day in Melbourne. So after all this miserable winter, look how much sun is here. So that's enough of me. Passing on to Beck to introduce herself, please.
Thank you, Jana, and thank you for having me. It's an honour to be on your show. A little bit about me. I currently run Beck O'Connor Career Consulting, and my work has centred around resumes and job search for the past 10 years. I started in employment services, helping very long-term unemployed job seekers find and secure sustainable employment. And moved into recruitment, and after some time just found I was doing everyone's resumes on the side constantly anyway, so I decided to go out on my own and start my own consulting business, and also do a lot of contracting for large outplacement agencies, helping a lot of people that have been made redundant. I'm very passionate about helping people gain confidence in their job search, just better market themselves. It's not about a piece of paper, that resume. It's just the whole process of unpacking someone and rebuilding them, and they just, they get so much out of it. And it's a really worthwhile investment for people. And so that's a little bit about me and how I came to.
Perfect. Thank you, Beck. Definitely rewarding experience, not only help people with, that the resume itself, but help them to gain this confidence, where I think sometimes it's 90% is that confidence piece rather than anything else when people looking for the job. We have a few people saying hi. Thank you guys for popping hi in the comments. Deepa is here. Rebecca is here. Thank you guys for saying hi in the comments. Who didn't say hi, please do so. We like make sure we talk with people, not with crickets. So the first question, I usually ask everyone. You kind of already answer this question, but if we come back to it. Why are you passionate about this particular topic? That we're talking tonight.
Yeah, I know it's odd. I literally had someone call me the other day, a potential client, and they were sort of gauging my background as well. And they said, "How did you find yourself doing this? Like, writing resumes sucks." I was like, "That's why I'm really busy," because people just don't like doing it and they don't know how to talk about themselves. And so, look, I just found a knack for it. It's like the writing piece. Yes, I've always been. It's just a strength of mine, a natural strength. But coupled with the questioning and finding the common themes throughout people's career, I've really found, I've got a strength in as well that really helps draw people out and give them that confidence, like you said. So look at, sometimes the process is not that fun. Resume writing is not sexy, but the outcomes that I've seen and people's careers from helping them is, really rewarding.
And I love that you mentioned that writing resumes sucks, because I think so many people can agree with that. I'm completely horrible. I don't even have resume, to be honest. I usually just go with like calls, network, these things. Like if someone asks me to send resume, I'm like, you don't want to see my resume. Like you don't. just no.
Yeah.
But I guess, the one thing that we wanted to discuss also today, what is actually the difference between the resume and the CV? And is there actually any difference?
Yeah. So, what we're talking about today is, where my experience comes in, and what I develop is the modern resume, not a CV. The difference being, CV is a sort of full account of your qualifications and your experiences from when you started to present. And you'll see that often more in the academic fields. But a resume is not that. It's not your life story. It's your pitch for that particular role. It's, a concise, targeted, relevant summary of your achievements, the related qualifications, and the history that's relevant as well. So, and, being tailored to the opportunity that you're going for. So it will be, you might have a master document of everything you've ever done, and you would generally try and pull from that to create a resume that's, your pitch document. So that's the most effective. Yeah.
I like that you actually, explain the difference, because I think like not many people think about, the difference between. I feel like the resume, in my mind, it's like a marketing brochure. And you don't want to put like whole manuals in your marketing brochure. You just want to pick the highlights and put them, make them easy to read and easy to find, and for people to just glance through it and understand what it's all about, instead of giving the whole book with the manuals with everything that you've done before.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head. It is a marketing document, and it kind of needs to highlight, like, it's coming from your resume is about you, but it's not for you. I think that's the key thing for anyone like listening and going away to apply tips and strategies. You need to put yourself in the shoes of that reader. It's not about your needs and your objectives with it. You need to put yourself outside that. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Arifo saying hi. Thank you for joining us today. Rebecca saying, I just felt that CV was American version of resume.
Yes, Americans do just tend to use CV as the term. I even do it because it's just shorter. But technically, that is the difference. So, yeah.
No, technically, it's curriculum vitae. It's longer.
Yeah.
It's cool. Makes sense. So I guess what are here we go. Straight to the question. Zoe is asking, is it better to have 1-page resume or 2-page resume?
Like anything in the careers industry, it depends. I literally could answer every question that I'm asked about careers and resumes and job search with it depends. To me, relevance determines the length. That's it. If everything there on has its place in putting you forward as the best fit, then that it belongs on there. There's no hard, not in Australia, there's no hard and fast rules about a 1-pager or a 2-pager.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the problem is if you're trying to squeeze everything in 1-pager, it just became hard to read. And obviously you don't want to compromise on that. And, you know, like, oh, the template for 1 page fits perfectly. And then you just jam everything that
exactly
could go, and no one can actually read what's going on there. I guess we already started talking about it, but I think the first topic we wanted to discuss is actually the mistakes. Yeah, the most common mistakes people do make in the resume. So I know we have a bit of a list here. So we already touched on about, you know, making the resume for the person who's going to read it, not for ourselves. Please, what have you seen as the most common mistakes from your experience?
So I guess further to that, around the, understanding the reader is, I think it was Abraham Lincoln that said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And so in this context, it's before you start your resume writing, you need to understand the target of your resume and where that's being aimed at. So, what are the specific job titles, obviously, the industries and types of companies. You get clear and do your research on that and the jobs being advertised, and start to understand the common skills, qualifications, qualities that will help give you a guide in actually developing and crafting your resume. Writing it so that the reader can really clearly see your value and how you'll fit within what it is that they're trying to fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, do your marketing research before putting your marketing brochure out.
Exactly. Know your audience. And so, I think that's the biggest, not the biggest, it is the first mistake I wanted to touch on, is just, it's just also about making or being mindful that frontline recruiting staff, and this is tech specific now, frontline recruiting staff need to read and interpret how your experience and accomplishments can serve their hiring manager's business needs. So just making it easy for the reader, and this kind of ties into the next common mistakes around just, it can be really complex to read an IT tech resume, sometimes purely because of the technical jargon. Like, it is just, IT is not the only one, but as we know, there's a lot of language very specific to that industry, and even within companies themselves, that just don't translate to the real world. So I think if you're throwing a bunch of technical jargon at the reader, lots of acronyms, tools and systems without sort of context of where they sit in your experience, it can just be a lot overwhelming, but also really dry. Like, it could just, you've lost the person on the paper. So that's, I guess another key point to the common mistakes there is just being aware of and pulling back on that, that technical jargon. Get someone else, an outsider, to read it, a non-tech professional, and say, do you generally understand what it is that I do? And you'll generally get, no, what is that? So
I've been asking these questions actually a few people, but what do you think? Do you feel like people almost need to have a different resume that they send to recruiters and a different resume that they would send to companies and hiring managers? Do you think that need to be adjusted, or it still needs to be same resume?
Look, I've never personally had that experience, and I've never done that, and it's never been requested of me to create a second resume for hiring manager. So no, I don't think that it's required. It is about finding that balance in the first instance, the resume that you're sending off. So and that, the the tech vomiting all over the resume as well is a part of that as well. So I think the fact that people are applying for a job in IT and tech, it does not mean you have to throw all of the technical terms and the kitchen sink in there. Again, it's about tailoring, only including the technical experience that's relevant to the job that you're applying for. So, you know, in terms of like the tech profiles and stack, the skills sometimes that I see, it's like, holy, like just overwhelming. So, and I think this is further to Lachlan that you had on last week. He was talking about, you know, the importance of soft skills in developing your IT career. And, you know, he was dead on. And it's the same thing applies, the importance about showcasing the soft skills in your resume. So you need to show that balance, and, you know, show that you're a person. You're a person behind the technical skills as well, with a lot of value and qualities to add. So yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned Lachlan. It's guys, if you missed that stream, you can watch the replay on the channel as well, about exactly that soft skills piece that Lachlan was talking about as you know, grow your career as IT consultant. Yes, you know, I've always find it's a really hard task, you know, especially for the technical resume, where you have all these technical skills, but you still want to show your personality and show that, you know, good communicator. And on one side, you know, you don't want to overwhelm your resume with all these technical skills, but on another side, I feel like you almost have to list all the technology you worked with, because otherwise, if someone put the keywords in, you might not get found by those keywords. So like I find this is a bit of a challenge. I would feel like on one side I would say, put all your technical skills in the table in the beginning, because the recruiter's gonna put it in the search system, and you need to have these keywords with all the technical skills. But on the other side, you don't want your resume look just a list of the technologies. So I don't know how you think people can overcome that.
I would say basically it's off that job vacancy. So the job that you're targeting will have basic or essential criteria and qualifications, and, you know, skills requirements with that, and even desirable as well. So going through that and making sure, truthfully, that everything there, making sure that at a base level that is in your resume. That's what it's about. It's just making sure that the keywords, important. You know, those are being input by a human, not a robot. And it'll generally, you know, the clues are right there in the job ad. So making sure that you've covered your bases, and whatever it is that they're asking for in that job advertisement, that's showcased in your resume. And look, if you want to include all of the technical experience, just still make sure that, I guess, we can see the context of where you've applied that as well. I see often with the tech side, the tech resumes, all of these technical skills listed, and there's no correlation in their experience section, or, you know, sort of providing the context of where and how they've used that and with what outcome, you know, that sort of thing. So but I guess the basic or essential criteria and desirable criteria, making sure that the boxes are ticked there with your technical skill set. And you know, around the soft skills, I guess another thing that I often see as well is people go, oh yeah, I need to include my soft skills, and they'll just create a section for that. And, you know, collaboration, attention to detail, time management, like they're just words. You need to reflect that again throughout your experience and weave that in. It needs to paint a picture of how you've collaborated on projects or led them, you know, that sort of thing. So the skills going on there, make sure that they're not completely isolated without any kind of explanation or context.
I think Frank has actually questions regarding that, not purely regarding that, but hobbies and personality are necessary or not?
So look, hobbies, I think if they're related and interesting, particularly in the IT field, you know, if you are, especially if you are, you know, getting a foot in the door and you kind of tinker around on, you know, coding, or you've built a portfolio of any kind, or You do these things on the side here and there for friends. Like it's a little bit more work focused, but that can be considered. Often IT people come from that as a hobby. Like that's what they love doing in their spare time. So I think as long as they're related, and look, if they're not related, they have to be super interesting. There's been, many that I've seen sort of, gardening,
Read books.
reading. Yeah, okay, that's good. Basically, again, putting yourself in the shoes of the person reading it. Does that help your case in any way? If it doesn't, take it off. But, I have seen instances of where, also like personal achievements outside. It could be, triathlons or something like that. That shows a level of dedication and discipline that also is, a good quality. So yeah, things like that. But just asking yourself, so what? And then be like, okay, I could take it off.
Yeah, I think I like that point about not just putting not just listing hobby, but maybe put achievement in this hobby. And that creates more value for the reader rather just mentioning, I don't know, beach volleyball, photography, and reading books, and like, great.
Yeah.
So, but I think that so those sort of achievements might help to put this personality in the resume in the way, because it is hard to show your personality when it's just few pages of paper.
Yeah, definitely. And look at it, it's not all like, when I say personality or inject the person behind the technical skills, I think that's also, if not more so, about the combination of skills, qualifications, and experiences that has led to the professional that you are today as well. So it's, that's kind of what I was talking about around, the person on the paper. So yeah, less so about kind of, what you get up to on the weekend, but yeah.
Or what you had for lunch.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we see it on LinkedIn and like, yeah, maybe I don't need to see what you eat for lunch. Maybe keep it for Instagram.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn's becoming Facebook. Yeah.
What else do we have in the mistakes there? Yeah, tailoring the resumes. So do you think that people should tailor their resumes for each job? Is it best practice?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are going for similar types of roles, which generally majority of people that I work with are, you can write a resume to a particular role, but that should still serve as a great base to continue to make customizations to, because, it's just really important that a candidate presents himself as the best fit for the position. And even similar roles will just have differences in obviously the environment and the type of company. So that needs to be factored in, but just the language that a particular company might use. So, mirroring what it is that they're asking for will, help position you as a much better fit than if you don't touch it. Doing so as well, going through a job ad, highlighting the skills that they need, just going that little bit of extra effort, making sure that they're reflected in your document. That's only going to also serve you when you hopefully move further down the track and are at interview, and you have a solid understanding of what it is that they're looking for and how you fit that.
Yep, definitely. And the least but not the not the last but not the least one.
Yeah, the grammar and typo errors. So yeah, obviously basic, but we can be, I guess, too inside the document, I guess, when we create our resume. So we need to step outside it. Just a couple of tips is reading from bottom to top of your document. Your eyes will pick up errors, but also there's a read aloud function in Microsoft Word. It'll just read your whole document. When you hear it, you'll go, oh my God, what does that say? So
yeah, does it make any
really
sense?
Yeah. Rule. Yeah. But it's just that level of care factor. And that's, if you put attention to detail in your resume, I often see, and then lots of errors throughout, you're not backing it up. So
yeah, and then you realize that the links is not working as well. You put like, attention to details, and then you're clicking to the link to the email or something, and it's
yes, IT resumes with links to their code and websites developed or whatever it may be, the portfolios, and the links don't work. So techie person. Yeah,
didn't check the links. Yeah. Anne has a question. I'm not sure actually what's the HackerRank, but I don't know if you know, Beck. What do you think of HackerRank scores on the resume?
Google's HackerRank. I kind of have an inkling, but HackerRank, is that a?
And you have to give us more information about the HackerRank.
I feel like that's the like how you rank your skill, like rate them. I could be wrong.
Okay. I actually, I don't know if I'm talking about it or not, but I actually don't mind. And when I read the, tech resumes, and when I really need to quickly go through a lot of resumes, I actually don't mind that people do the scoring of their technical skills, where people put the self score, like they put the technology and they say like, excellent, proficient, or, scoring themselves on each technology. I actually really enjoying it because, most of the time, if I call them, I'll ask same question. I will ask them how you like rate yourself on, I don't know, Kubernetes, or how do you rate yourself with the Java skills? So I actually like when people put it in the resume. I don't know if everyone likes it, but I definitely do.
Yeah, okay. And this is, again, the thing with job search and applications and recruitment preferences. It all depends. Like, ask 20 people in this industry for their opinion and you'll get 20 different responses. I don't like it. I think it can just, I guess we might tend to self-inflate our skill sets sometimes, or the ones that are not so. I think it can highlight where you're not so proficient, and why would you do that? But I think that's a big common thing in the tech resume, tech application side of things, is that people do talk up and pump up their skills on those particular things, and they again might not be able to back that up. So, look, on the flip side, I have had recruiters just be like, it provides like no context for me. Like, it could just be, what out of what, you know what I mean? So, but that's, again, it's just all preference. It's a nice, easy thing for your eyes to go, okay, he's strong in that. If that works. Look,
I think it's helped with the initial screening in a way, because most of the time, like we'll do the technical resume regardless, and then obviously, if person can't back it up, they can't back it up. But at least I feel like sometimes it's just a good starting point, the person self-rating already that, they feel like they quite efficient in this technology, giving some sort of start, especially if you have a lot of resumes to go through.
Yeah, look, and it's like you said, it's a little point of difference there. Sometimes something visual can really help you stand out. It's not how I personally work and write my resumes, and the only thing I would say there is, if you're sort of getting to a really long list of technical skills, and how how you're going to fit that in and make that look good on a resume. So it would have to be a very focused, core, advanced sort of skill set. So
and I think that's our discussion actually shows how subjective it can be as well. The one hiring manager would love this, another hiring manager will be like, oh, why he put like a self-rating scores? It's like nothing for me. So
no,
you definitely you can't please everyone with
Exactly. Get the basics right as well, around content.
We have a bit of a discussion here happening about this HackerRank. Jason saying HackerRank, the competitive programming website. Rebecca said, Rebecca saying, I have a friend that mentioned that you have to define the rating system because a number does not mean anything by itself. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly, 3 out of 5 bubbles. What does that tell me? Not much. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Where is this rating actually coming from?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So makes sense. And obviously we already, it's been half an hour we've been talking about the mistakes. But I know it's mistakes are the best to talk about. Yeah. But let's talk about, I guess, your top tips in terms of the structure. So is there any preferable structure you use and you find it, I guess maybe more successful than others? We obviously already mentioned that it could be quite subjective, but I guess, what sort of structure you would follow usually when putting the tech resume together?
Yeah, so again, it's a personal style that I've developed over time, and it has worked for my clients. But to me, it's at the end of the day, content is king. But your structure, you want fuss-free, clean, consistent, uncluttered, easy to follow. And we can walk through a bit of a sample just to show you how simple but effective a structure can be. And I'll just preface this by saying that this sample here, obviously remove names, but this particular resume got someone a job at Salesforce from a not too long in the field. But yeah, so look, it doesn't have to be, I'm not about fancy visuals and graphics. I'm not saying they can't be done well, but I think get the basics right is my key message. So look, in terms of working through that, it's very clearly your name and contact details up at the top. You don't need to spend a lot of, have a lot of space around that. You'll just see that takes up 3 lines right there at the top, including the title of the role that they're targeting. So again, that's sort of the keyword optimization there. So really clearly, as soon as I open that, I know, what they do.
I'm glad you mentioned it because it seems like such an obvious thing, but people do just to put the title. They just because again, like we're so used to see ourselves, we know everything about ourselves, but we don't think about the little thing that you actually missed the title. Like what job are you applying? You business analyst, are you software developer? Like I want to see it straight away, not after reading 3 pages.
Yeah, it just helps you, set the scene. Here's the title, and everything that follows it should really directly relate back to that. So and just very basic things like the contact details. It's just keeping it really super simple like that. You'll see a nice opening summary there. I still see a lot of objectives. The key thing being you want to focus that, like package up your skills and unique value so that you can convey like the benefit that you will provide based on your background. So it should be, your related background, the level that you're at, and the skills and qualities that you think help you stand out. And then you've got a simple skills summary there. So this is sort of more a little bit, not soft skills, but just more in the environment. Keywords here from the job ad and the types of roles that they were going for. And then, of course, the technical profile. It's nice and clean and easy to read. It's not, there's a lot of skills there, but it's not too cluttered, and a little bit of shading to break that up. And then your headings, you want really clear, differentiated from the rest of the text. So it's just about, subtly using a bit of shading, slightly larger fonts for headings, and just you'll see the way that's set out as well. It's quite interesting. Your company names on the left and the dates on the right, the way we read has actually been researched, and the way that recruiters scan resumes, and that's in line with how they will actually scan and gather information from a document. So that's just, I guess, a bit of best practice. If you don't know where to start, or you've got a really shocking resume, just bring it back to something like that for, as a really good base. Yeah.
I'm really glad, you mentioned those little things because also, like, we're talking about the content as a king, but it's so, yes, it's so important to have this like a simple structure that makes it easy to read. Because when a hiring manager going through millions of resumes, it just, when you can't find the previous position title or something, if you can't find it in the last like a first few seconds, you just like
Yeah.
after reading 20 resumes before and not be able to quickly find the information, it can be quite frustrating. Coming back to in the beginning, how you said that resume need to be written for the person who receiving it, it's not about you liking it.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't need to be like, there's beautiful templates in Canva and whatnot. And if you've got the content sort of all where it needs to be and you've got that level of skill, then sort of give them a go. But it's just, I think this is a really solid thing to sort of follow in terms of, just after the 20, 30 resumes that they've been through, especially in the IT field, it can get really dry and really just a bit overwhelming. Make it as easy as possible for them. So with that as well, our eyes need a bit of rest on the document. So we want white space in between sections. That's where I sort of say, one-page resumes are generally done pretty poorly, and it's just like like a word
Dumped it
bomb.
all.
Just creating a little bit of white space can be just really help the reader as well. Just alignment, just things like that, consistency. It can often come in like a dog's breakfast, just paying attention to the details. So that alignment, just in terms of the way that experience is laid out, you'll see IT experience labels that section, and relevant projects. So that's where you get to be tailored as well. You get to section out your experience in a way that presents the most relevant information to them. And look, it should be reverse chronological in general, but don't be afraid to bring up earlier experiences and relevant IT experience, especially people work in the field, move away, come back into it, so you can do a little bit more combination sort of styles as well, to present the most relevant information earlier in the document. But clean is my jam. So clean and uncluttered. Yeah.
And I think, Rebecca, I have a question that you've kind of already touched on in terms of, when you start talking about the structure and relevant experience. Rebecca is asking, what if you have just changed careers and is looking for your first job in tech? What should we include to replace this work experience section?
So good question. You still do need to supply your employment history. We can't take it off completely, but it is about the information that you present in that. So there are always transferable skills from the roles that we have, and that, what you can do there is a bit of an audit of the past roles that you've had, get the skills, the strengths, the qualities, brainstorm within each role what those were. And, you will often see that when you go through attributes and qualities, and, types of environments worked within. I know that particular example or the sample resume there, there had to be collaboration. There was solving problems for customers as well. So, in that regard, you want to be pulling on customer service experience, for example. So don't completely discount the experience that has brought you to this point. It does have value, but again, just make sure, step outside. What is this person needing from me? And what is the value that, I add from my diverse background? In terms of having no experience at all, look, it's not just relying solely on the resume. It's about networking, building relationships, and creating your own opportunities. So freelance projects. So if you don't have any experience, go and try and source those opportunities for yourself that you can put on your resume. Show that you are always willing to learn, and you're progressing and developing in some way in the tech field through, it could be relevant projects experience on the resume. Your academic projects, they hold a lot of skills as well. So, again, bringing those up, it could be relevant projects first and then work experience second. So you're conveying the most valued skills first. So there's ways to be strategic with that. And, in that opening summary as well, not focusing so much on I've done this, this, and this, but, motivation, passion for IT, the role that you're targeting, and relevant skills. This is why this will make me a great fit.
Yeah. There's definitely a few great points there, Beck. And I always like to say, you don't start from the beginning, you start from the experience. Even if your experience not exactly in the tech, exactly what you said, with so many transferable skills, and we talk about soft skills in IT a lot, all the time, how important it is to see, solve the business problems, how important it is to communicate with people, collaborate with people. There is so many interchangeable skills, ability to learn. I think in the beginning, when you're looking for the new role, it's showing that you, have motivations, but you have ability to learn. You learned something in the past. You was able to learn something before that show that you can learn this new language really quickly. So if I've learned something before from scratch, it means that I have a capacity to learn things from scratch, and that's how I went about it. So there is different ways to put it, and I think the challenge is how you can put it nicely in your resume. So
yeah, it is a challenge. And one sort of example I can think of recently where it was IT field, but I think her background was web development, and she was going into cyber safety, or the other way around. But anyway, something that her background wasn't exactly aligned to whatever she was going for, but within her role, and this was like a front-facing role, she was always the go-to for IT troubleshooting in the place. Didn't matter what job she went for. She was just go ask so-and-so because she'll fix it. Like that, and it wasn't her job at all. But like drawing on those experiences, you've got to think outside the box a little bit. This is I'm not this job description that they gave me. I was actually doing so much more. And that's how this will add value. So just be getting a little bit creative about, not lying or anything, but thinking a little bit outside the box of just your tasks that you were responsible for.
Yeah. I guess a bit brainstorming. Yeah, going outside the normal responsibilities, because I'm sure everyone does similar things, and in every job we have to deal with similar things. In every job we need to deal with people, we need to deal with problems, we need to deal with communication, conflicts. You can always find something that transferable to in your particular situation. I guess unless you apply for a surgeon's job and you never studied studied medicine, but we're not talking about those extremes. And I think we kind of answered James' questions in a way, because it's similar question. How do you handle working in multiple industry and putting relevant experience in your resume? So
it's
similar.
Very similar. And at the end of the day, it comes around about to finding that common thread and theme through your experiences about you and your personal brand and what you deliver. Do you know what I mean? So there's plenty of instances where people have had like a tapestry career, but there is a common theme and thread holding that all together. That is your personal brand and how you pitch yourself. That again, all those industries, combination of skills, qualifications, experiences, and background. There's a very unique selling point in that. And you have to reflect and uncover what that is and put that forward.
It's actually quite interesting. I'm just, there's a lot of comments coming back, like definitely burning topic for people. Rebecca saying, thank you for all the helpful tips, guys. I'm guilty of having a one-page resume. Zoe has a good question, actually. the really specific one. Do you recommend one column resumes like the sample resume you showed rather than 2-column resumes?
Yeah, so the 2-column resume is, growing in popularity. I guess most of the time I see that done really poorly. So that's why I kind of rely on the 1-column or all of the information there in the body of the document in that main section, because it's hard to mess up. But the column format, I guess my key gripes with that are, even that larger column, that where you would put your experience, it's still really limiting you on the page, and you'll end up, most of the time people try and keep their bullet points within that, and they end up with these, developed websites. Like there's no context, there's no story with that, there's no outcome. So it really does limit the space that you have, and just that space is really not used well, I'm going to say 90% of the time.
I just find it harder to read, full stop.
Yeah, the eyes, because it's sort of hard to get a flow with it.
Yeah. I'm struggling, especially if it's experience and it's going 2 columns. My eyes still go to the right, and then I jump into the next job, like next experience, instead of following the column. So I just find it harder to read, just full stop.
Yeah, for readability.
So,
yeah,
I guess again, like so many variations, maybe someone would love the 3-column resume, but I think in general that would be,
Yeah. No, that's it's about getting those basics right. At the end of the day, are they going to make a decision based on the way that you, the column or the information, the way it was laid out in your resume, or the information in your resume? But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Back with so much information, but I'm cautious about the time as well. So we passed the 45 minutes of our live stream. Let's talk about your top tips to summarize things. I think you already mentioned most of them, but I think if you want to highlight a few that you think the most important, what would that be?
Yeah, so the keywords is probably a really big one there, that's the part of the tailoring. So using their language and demonstrating that throughout. Just a combination of brief text and bullet points. So a lot of the time I'll see no bullets, just really large blocks of text. We don't read like that. We will tune out. So really short snippets, bites of information, and just brief paragraphs, maybe introducing the purpose of the role, for example. So a nice combination of that. I do see if the similar roles over the past, very like the same bullets throughout each role. Each role was different in some way. So pull on the unique stories to that as well. No personal pronouns and not in the third person. It just sounds really stuffy. But yeah, you want to avoid also, I did this, I did that. Keeping it short.
Yep. And I think you have a really nice acronym here. I think we have a bit of a time to talk about this. So can you walk us through the CUBS, the resume CUBS?
Yes. So I guess this is just a framework for people when they're developing their points. Again, those stories. So rather than just a really dry list of the tasks and the duties that you were asked to do, it's what were actually the wins in your role. You delivered results and successes. This helps you unpack those. So what were your great stories within each of your roles? Write it down. What was the challenge? Here's a situation I was presented with, or even the problem in the business at the time, because you are there to solve a problem. What did I do? What result did I deliver? And, the benefits of that too. You're not going to fit all of that in a bullet point necessarily, but if you get clear on those stories, you'll be able to, put a lot more interesting points on the page than just, the position description, for example. And that's where, again, the person comes into it, not just a task list. So unpack your achievements like that, and your resume will be a lot more hard hitting.
And I think, if you think about those scenarios, it's also help you in the interview.
Totally.
When you sit down and think about the scenarios, even maybe you won't find the best way to put it all in the resume, but even thinking about those situations really will help you to answer some of the interview questions.
Definitely. Yeah, that's what I was going to say next. You read my mind. It leads into that whole piece of the job search as well. So, yeah.
And you remember carbs, so like now everyone will be thinking about spaghetti, then thinking,
I'm just sitting here
about
like
the
I'm actually
resume.
hungry. Yeah.
Cool, guys. Maybe we'll have a time for like a last question if you have any last question to Beck. But I think it's a time for us to summarize our discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's recap. Let's recap what's the top tips on those tech resumes.
Yeah, and like any resume, know your target and make sure that you actually meet and address the basic and essential criteria. I know it sounds really straightforward, but you'd be really surprised how much that is not, often hit. We want to avoid the technical jargon and unexplained acronyms. So I didn't mention it, but you can use acronyms, but just make sure that they're explained fully in the first instance that they appear on the document, and then with the acronym in brackets, and then you can use that throughout. Keep the layout design really fresh, clean, easy to read, which we covered. We went into it a little bit just around the carbs, but providing context and business impact. I think that's a big thing for tech resumes, is they're sort of in there, here's the job that I do, not thinking about the wider organizational impact that has and the benefits that has created. So further to that, describing your achievements using the carbs model and tailor to meet their needs.
Yes, definitely. And, when we were talking about, this business impact and achievements, do you recommend, when you're talking about your professional experience, do you recommend people to put like project requirements, responsibilities, achievement into each experience, or do you go just with like a bullet points for each job? Or do you like to break it down?
So there can be a nice way to break it up as well. So it depends again on the environment that you're in, and if it's project-based work. But yeah, that can be whatever makes it really easy to just see what you did, your contribution, and the outcome that delivered to the project or the business unit, whatever it may be.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm just looking if some questions come through. I don't know if it's a question, but someone just saying hi to us from America. Not sure if it's tech related. But hi anyway. The pleasure of YouTube live streams, So perfect. So Beck, I'll give you some time now to pick the winner of today's giveaway. So the giveaway is a virtual coffee chat with you. So
yes.
if you scroll through the comments and pick the winner for this virtual coffee chat, someone who ask some interesting question or participate in our discussion, so they can take some questions offline with you. And while you doing that, I'm just gonna make an announcement for next week. Next week, 16th of November. My God, it's already middle of November, so Christmas is almost here. So next week, 16th of November, we're gonna speak with Catherine, and we're gonna talk about how to plan your tech career in 2023. Catherine is a career coach, and just in time for Christmas, it's a good time to sit down and think, okay, so what are my goals for next year, and how am I going to achieve them? So if you are in this kind of mode, end of the year review and setting up goals for next year, definitely join us. Join us next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time with Catherine. Beck, did you have enough time to pick the winner?
Yes. And look, it's not just about the name, but I'm going to go with Rebecca.
Yeah, I think, Rebecca, we need to help you with this, like a one-pager.
Yeah. Let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm. I want to see how you squeeze it all into one page.
Yeah. Great contribution there from Rebecca. So yeah.
Rebecca, make sure to add me on LinkedIn so that I can also follow up and make sure you set up your little chat with the Beck. And Beck, what's the best way to connect with you and reach out for help?
Well, I'm always on LinkedIn, and I know that people are sort of from all over the world and in this audience. So LinkedIn's probably the best way to get me, but there are some details there. So yeah, happy to answer. I know it's just a really hard topic to cover in a short amount of time. So if you do have any other burning questions, you're welcome to message me on LinkedIn. Yeah.
There is so much information, when it comes to resume writing. And and then just remember the beginning of our discussion when you mentioned that writing resume sucks. just keep coming back to that. I'm just stuck to me, because every time I think about writing resume, I'm like, no, it's just like last thing I want to do. So come to professionals, guys. If you feel like me, just go to professionals.
Exactly. That's why we're here.
And Beck, I think you mentioned also where is a list of some action verbs that you can send out as well to people who join us today.
Yeah, so just making those your bullet points in your experience section a little bit more powerful and impactful. I've got a resource of 108 action verbs to just spice up your writing a little bit. So would gladly give that out to the audience. Would you just reach out to me for that? Or? Yep.
Yeah, guys, feel free to email Beck at careerfrontire.com.au or connect with her on LinkedIn, and you can also get that list of the action verbs to help you to spice up your resume. And Rebecca is saying thank you. She's already connected to us on LinkedIn. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rebecca, for your participation. Thank you, everyone, for joining our discussion today. Obviously, I always encourage you, if you like this video, if you get some value from today, please like this video, share it with those who need to hear those tips. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, obviously, to make sure you get notifications about upcoming events. And also, obviously, if I have more subscribers, it encourages me to keep going and bringing more great speakers to share their experience. So thank you so much, guys, for joining tonight. Thank you, Beck, for your time. And just put you on the spot in this, last 2 minutes of our discussion. Do you have any favorite inspirational quote that, I don't know, you follow, or some, statement that you live by? Something inspirational that you can share with us just to finish it up. Could be really simple.
Well, if it's inspirational, just my personal ethos is do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Definitely. Guys, nice and simple. So guys, make sure, treat everyone like you want to be treated, and you'll be surprised what universe will bring you.
Nicely said.
Thank you. Shima is saying thank you as well. Thank you, Shima, for joining us today as well. Shima, here we go. She was silent, and she just, say thank you at the end. Thank you, guys, again. Great energy tonight. Rebecca, make sure to reach out, and I'll see everyone next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Yana. Thanks, guys.